Hi, today's an exciting day as we transition the Climate Tech Roundup to the EarthTech Roundup. As many of us know, the sustainability transition is a systems level challenge, and I am fortunate enough to work with incredible colleagues that specialize in water, nature, and climate. And we really want this series to encompass all of these aspects. I'm Kat. I lead our transition finance practice, and today I'm even more excited to not be doing this episode all alone as I welcome my colleague, good friend, and water guru, Will Sarni. He'll be helping us kick off the EarthTech Roundup as we get into how he thinks about water and nature tech. Will, it's so wonderful to have you. I'm very excited to be joined by anyone today, but especially you.
Nice qualifier. I could have been anybody.
My bar was low for some company, but I'm really happy that you're helping me kick off EarthTech.
Well, I am thrilled to be here. I love the focus on EarthTech. And, you and I have talked about convergence essentially, so perfect timing.
Yeah, absolutely. So to kick us off, would love to hear your overview of how you think about defining what water tech and nature tech is.
Sure. Water tech is trying to solve a number of key issues. So water scarcity. So, I sit in Denver and the American West is undergoing aridification, turning into a desert. So how do you deploy technologies that can do more with less water or do without? And that runs from data centers, manufacturing operations, ag tech, the built environment. So, home, commercial places, poor quality of water. I think roughly about 80% of all the water discharged globally is untreated, which is, a frightening number. So how do you develop technologies that are affordable, depending on where you're located, and can treat complex wastes in a way that's, cost effective? That also gets into alternative sources of water. So how do you take seawater and develop desalination membrane technologies that can convert salt water to drinking water or water for other uses, and also deep aquifers that are brackish? And then, there's a whole body of work going on right now with respect to access. So how do you deliver safe drinking water to communities that don't have infrastructure and do it in a way that is either through decentralized technologies or off-grid technologies? And then you start to get into things like air moisture capture as potentially a technology that has very specific use cases. And then, industry sectors, obviously industrial and ag is a big focus area right now. So that's really a good way to look at what's going on with respect to water tech that has a lot of overlap into nature tech.
That's great. It goes without saying that, there's so much interlinkage and convergence, as you said, between climate, water, nature, all of the things we think about and talk about all day, which is why the challenges are so wicked, right? What role do you see some of the water and nature tech playing in solving these challenges that are really core and interlinked?
Yeah. Well, they're essential. The key to all of this is maybe less about new technologies and more about market adoption. So, what are the market signals? Who pays for it, which is, in your wheelhouse? And how do you de-risk technologies? So, for example, in, the water utility sector, it's historically very risk adverse, slow to innovate. How do you create a market mechanism or a platform that enables a water utility to take a chance and pilot something? That gets into, the people side of the equation. Ag tech, which includes nature tech, the ag sector, I say rightfully so, is risk adverse. The way to think about it is, most farmers have about 40 seasons of growing in their lifetime. And how much are they willing to risk, one or more of those seasons? So, I think this is where the corporation comes in and can de-risk, invest in these technologies, and support the ag sector.
Yeah. And as you were answering there, it was reminding me of a lot of the conversations I'm having right now with corporate clients around quantifying these co-benefits of sorts that they've never quantified before, that are the business resiliency aspects of things. And maybe it's not because of the tragedy of the commons where the resources themselves haven't had a dollar sign attached to them of value, but we're seeing it in the fact that, going out of stock of favorite items in your store is revenue loss. Like there are these quantifiable things that allow a lot of these technologies to be better understood and have more of a willingness to pay potentially attached.
Yeah. Co-benefits, stacking value, think about business value at risk, quantifying that is a way to, I would say, accelerate the adoption of these technologies because you're really quantifying the full value. One thing I would add to it is social impact. And there's at least one global food and beverage company that is adding the social dimension to it. So how might investment in an ag tech company not just deliver crop productivity benefits and reduce reliance on resources, fertilizers and water, but also improve the economics for the smallholder farmer. And that has a social benefit that goes well beyond, that family and really gets into, the economic development of a region.
Yeah. Kind of furthering that point of, and it's obvious both on previous episodes of Climate Tech Roundup and our conversations that I love the corporate startup partnership potential. So I'd love to dig into that a bit more in terms of what you see the opportunities being, and maybe some of these groups that really help these relationships get started.
Sure. You brought up wicked problems, and it ties into my answer, which is, if you think about who solves wicked water problems, climate problems, ag problems, it's all stakeholders. So it's the entrepreneur and investors that can move quickly, but don't have scale. It's the public sector on the other end that has, scale and size, but doesn't move quickly. Well, corporations sit in the middle, and depending on the industry sector and the culture of the company and, their strategy and leadership, they could behave sort of equally in the area of speed and focus and also deliver on scale. So I find the corporate initiatives that are engaged with startups, scale-ups to be really, really interesting. And that's the, 100 Plus Accelerator program that was launched initially by AB InBev that now includes Unilever, Coca-Cola Company, Colgate, and Danone. And then, also what we're doing in the Colorado River Basin through Water United, which brings together corporations, technology companies, and utilities, and hopefully foundations and NGOs to develop commercial relationships to solve watershed scale problems. And in the Colorado, it's everything from, data centers, cities, the built environment, and the ag sector. There are other examples like World Economic Forum Uplink program. They bring in corporations, they bring in a lot of startups. Diageo has a supply chain accelerator program So I think there's a really unique opportunity for the private sector to accelerate solutions into the marketplace and provide support that entrepreneurs need.
Yeah. And I know that you're a big fan of the 100 plus. You seem like an awesome program. In the sessions themselves, does it seem to be like unpacking some of the core issues of how corporate and a new technology can really partner? Because obviously that needs a lot of resource.
Yeah, I really do love the 100 plus program because they brought together multinationals in a structured process where, they have a call for entrepreneurs to address key business issues around innovation in packaging, circular economy, nature tech, water tech, carbon. They also have innovation in business models, which is really interesting. So, outcomes as a service. And, the most recent cohort was a few weeks ago, and it takes a lot for me to be speechless, but there were a few that were really mind-blowing. So there was one ag tech company that takes nitrogen out of the air and uses it as fertilizer for the plant. Now, who knew? There's a team in the UK that is doing this. There was a team that is growing glaciers in Chile. Oh yeah. It's really pretty jaw-dropping that if you look globally and provide some structure and rigor around the process, then the corporate world can be incredibly powerful. I'm an optimist. I feel more optimistic when I see entrepreneurs that are willing to stake it all.
Yeah, that's super cool. Well, you'll probably have to put in the comments some of the names of some of those tech companies you're really excited about.
I'm happy to follow. That was Crop Intellect.
Crop Intellect, cool.
The nitrogen company.
Well, as you know, we just get to scratch the surface in these episodes. So one final question, and looking forward to having you back to keep digging in. But if you had one big bet for anyone listening, what is it in the water and nature tech space?
I'm inclined to say plastics, from the movie The Graduate, but I won't do that. I really do believe it's nature tech. And I also believe tied to that is that we will see a convergence of water tech and nature tech and climate tech. So, my bet's on nature tech. I believe people get it, believe it or not, maybe in some ways more than water tech. So, yeah, I'd bet $1 on that.
Betting big.
How's that for being bold, Kat, huh?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. Putting it all on the table.
Well, our time has come to an end, but very excited to have you back again because this is now the EarthTech Roundup. So I see a lot of this in our future.
Well, I think it's a great title. It's incredibly appropriate and speaks to the trend of convergence of all of these issues. So, in a lot of ways, all of this is maturing in the right direction.
Yeah.
So happy to be on.
Complexity. Well, thanks.
My
See
pleasure.
you soon.
Anytime, Kat. Take care.
Bye. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to the inaugural episode of the EarthTech Roundup. In coming episodes, we'll be bringing on more guests to broaden conversations to climate, water, and nature tech. Reach out to me directly with any questions or suggested topics at kat@earthfinance.com. Thanks.